What's going on, everybody? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Eagles Talk, and today, you know what I mean? Hey, this is Raiders week, and I'm thankful enough to have a Raider fan to come on my show and just talk about the matchup. You know what I mean? Hey, we're gonna have fun with it, laugh with it. Hey, whatever happens, happens. So, hey, without further ado, introduce yourself, my guy.
Hey, how's it going? Matt Fallon here, Raiders Twitter person, I guess. Do some writing for the Raiders. Do some podcasting. Nothing too major. I'm on Last Word on Sports for the Raiders. Do the previews for the week. Hop on the Rock Vegas podcast with Glenn Rockney occasionally. But yeah, excited, man. Coming off a big win. Uh, I got some Eagle fan buddies, so this is a good week for me. So,
And your Twitter handle is actually your name that's showing on the screen, right?
right, yeah. It's a couple band accounts later. That's what it ended up as. So,
All right. Hey, look, hey, how long you been a Raiders fan?
oh yeah, 29 years. So yeah, it's been a long journey of uh, unfortunate stuff. So.
So how did you feel? Matter of fact, hey, before we move on, so how did you feel about that tuck rule? I was watching that game, and that's when Tom Brady took off.
Yeah,
If
it's kind of like what happened to the Raiders went down and the Tom Brady's career went up. So, um, yeah, it was a turning point for the two franchises, and I don't, it's one of those things that sticks with you where you like to blame it on the refs and everything, but everyone forgets that the Raiders couldn't convert on a 3rd and 1 that would have iced the game. So, there's a lot of reasons why they lost that game other than the tuck rule too. So.
Yeah, but that tuck rule though became a rule that day. It wasn't never a rule before. So that day it became a rule, and that's like
No, it's
when I
one of
think
those
about the
rules that
tuck
like
rule, I think
just
about
never
Raiders
got called.
Patriots.
It's one of those rules that like it was in the rule book, but I bet you if you interviewed 20 referees, they wouldn't have known what that call was. So it's one of those like that. He might have been the only referee on the planet that actually knew that rule, and that's kind of the shocking part to people. I think is how it changed two franchises, and you see stuff like that happen sometimes.
Yeah, that's facts. It did. It did. All right. So, hey, let's get into it. All right. So, I know the Raiders, the past week and a half, this thing came out about your old coach, but I don't want to talk about that. So, I want to talk about your mindset moving forward and how how did y'all pull off this big win, besides all that going on, throughout the week?
Yeah, yeah. I think one thing is that I said going into the week was I think that the Raiders are going to either beat the snot out of Denver or just get embarrassed. I didn't think there was any in between there. I thought it was going to be a blowout or it was going to be the Raiders dominated, and it ended up being the Raiders dominated, which doesn't happen as a Raider fan. I mean, we dominate one game a year, and like that's if we're lucky. So I think it's very like one of those things where I think that it could totally go the opposite direction today. Sorry, on Sunday, where they were so high and they were so, there's so much emotion there that they came out and they played their best game of the season. And like what that letdown is going to look like without John Gruden there. And like, when John Gruden was there, that letdown game always happened. Like the Raiders had a letdown game whenever there was a big opportunity to like take a, step in the right direction. So maybe it's gone now, but it's one of those things that's definitely making our fan base a little nervous. Is that letdown game going to happen again? And that very well, the Eagles have enough playmakers where it could happen.
So, how do you feel about the whole John Gruden getting fired? I mean, do you think it was right or wrong? Or, I mean, hey, do you feel like the NFL like use a scapegoat, or look, it is what it is. And we're moving on to the next game, whoever next man up.
Yeah. I mean, with as far as like what John Gruden did, it's something I said when our fan base asked me. It was I can't comment on the stuff that he said because it's something that
Facts.
doesn't affect me as a white man, white straight man. Like none of the stuff that he said was offensive to me. However, I can't tell people how they should feel. So that's one thing. Like I think like saying it's right or wrong is just such a
Mm-hmm.
broad brush. I think that I don't think he's the only coach in the NFL that's racist.
Oh yeah, I
I don't think
mean,
he's the only coach in the NFL that's a homophobe. I
yeah,
don't think that Carl Nassib goes through a football game without being called the F word.
yeah.
And like so, I think that it did get blown up. They said they had the email since October. I think that
October.
in a couple months, maybe you're going to find. I mean, not October. They said they had them like since last year.
Wow.
So I do think that like it's going to come out eventually. There's going to be there's going to be some bigger fish that are going to get fried with this thing. I think that it was a nice way for the NFL to kind of just push the blame somewhere else. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like the Raiders owner came out and said it was a hit job, and I think it was. I think somebody wanted Gruden out, and we don't really know who it is at the moment. We don't know what happened, but it sounds like to me that he said a lot of things that offended a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like him lead, they had no choice. Like you have to get rid of him at that point. So
Look. Hey, when it comes to drama, the Philadelphia Eagles know all about it because last year, I mean, we was a team full of drama. Hey, we got rid of our only Super Bowl winning head coach. We got rid of a quarterback that we had to pay $30+ million for him to go away. That helped us win the Super Bowl. Our franchise has always been under scrutiny, and this year, look what's going on this year. So trust me, like if anybody knows drama, the Philadelphia Eagles fans, the fan base knows drama. You know what I mean? So if we all go through it, it's how you bounce back from it. You know what I mean? And that's why I was so impressed how y'all went along with beating the Broncos, which everybody thought was a top-notch defense, a top-notch team that was, in the running to even win the division. And after all what y'all went through, y'all still had the composure with a brand new interim head coach to go and do y'all thing. I like that.
yeah. I mean, I do think that it was a nice showing, and like Rich Bisaccia, he's been in the league long enough, and I think like anybody that's played or been around football, the head coach is important, and in the Raiders situation, like he's calling the plays, it's like it's even more important. But that whole coaching staff, they're all professionals, and the players are professionals.
Yeah.
It shows a lot of heart to be able to bounce out and dominate a football game like that. But like I said, it's like you got to put a couple good weeks together. Like you have a coach that if they go out and get blown out once, I feel like that's like a situation where you lose the team and like it's what's going on
Mm-hmm.
next season. So the Raiders are they're in that where they have about a very small margin of error right now, like where it's they have to come out and play a solid football game 2 weeks in a row and show that hey, like maybe John Gruden was the problem. I mean that's kind of like it's kind of a theme in our fan base right now is as soon as John Gruden goes away, the offense gets a little more aggressive, and
So do you feel like the players were so like they're playing uptight because Chucky never smiles, he never give compliments. There's been rumors that Derek Carr, he wasn't like he never felt comfortable that he was the guy, and John Gruden didn't even think that he was the guy, that Derek Carr was the guy. But now, do you feel like the weight has been lifted off your franchise, your quarterback? Now they could just play free. They have nothing to lose, really. If their coach got fired, hey, the division is pretty what Kansas City's in there, the Chargers in there, Broncos and y'all. So I mean, everybody picked the Kansas City Chiefs to still win the division, regardless how they started off right now. So I mean, do you feel like y'all playing with house money right now? That y'all have nothing to lose?
Yeah, absolutely. With as far as expectations go, coming into the seasons, I was like around like 8-8 or 8-9, 9-8, and then they go 3-0, just like the last two seasons where you have a good start and lose two in a row. And as
Funny.
far as
Yeah, we was about to get into that.
oh yeah. I mean, as far as with the
Yeah.
the 4-2 start goes, it's mildly surprising, especially after the John Gruden thing going out and getting a win. I definitely expected going 3-3 going into this week. Once they start 3-0, it's like we're hopefully going to be a playoff football team. But I think one of the things is it's still a young football team, and even though they have those aging veterans that John Gruden loves,
Mm-hmm.
the Raiders are a very very young football team, and I, I compared the Raiders to the Eagles a couple weeks ago as far as like what the expectations are.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have a rookie head coach, and I know he's getting some heat right now, but
From
it's tough
everywhere.
because your guys' schedule is brutal. Like the four losses that you guys have had: Chiefs, Cowboys, Dallas, and another good team. I can't remember who the fourth
The
one.
Bucks. The
Yeah, the
Bucks. We
Bucks.
lost to the
So I mean, that's
Bucks.
four playoff teams that you've lost to, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the Raiders, they go, they always do this. They go beat Baltimore, they beat Pittsburgh, and then they lose to Chicago, But it's one of those things where I think that you don't. It's hard to predict in the NFL like a season prediction. Like I've always said that you got to reevaluate it at week
Yeah.
6, week 10,
Every
because
quarter.
you just don't know. You just don't know. And like preseason, like you just don't know like who's gonna show out, like who's gonna be the leader on the defense. Like I didn't think Casey Hayward was gonna be a lockdown corner this year, and he is. And like we're getting production out of guys that in the preseason people said wouldn't even
Mhm.
see the field. Solomon Thomas is all of a sudden a productive NFL player, and how much of it is Gus Bradley and how much of it is the new players. And so there's a lot of
Yeah.
questions that have been answered already, and there's still a lot of questions to answer later. So
Yeah, look, I agree. So shout out to the people that are in the chat. Hey, we're gonna start answering a couple of these questions real quick. I know we're gonna talk about it, but Richard asks, would this game be a shootout or a defensive game?
yeah, I mean, Raider games, man. Like in the last 3 seasons, like if you don't predict a shootout, um, it's pretty much been a shootout like 80% of the time. Our defense is still pretty leaky. Like as far like it's better than it was last year. Um, but we're still giving up like 24 points.
Mhm.
It's probably going to be a 27-24, 28-24 game. Not necessarily like trading touchdowns the entire game, but I think the
Mhm.
Eagles and Raiders both have middle of the pack defenses.
Yeah.
Your defensive line, like your interior defensive line, scares me a bit, and the offenses both have big play potential. So it could get into a shootout. Like if Devontae Smith matches up well, I'm kind of nervous about who's going to cover him because Casey Hayward's been pretty good this year, but he's not. He's old. He's not going to be able to cover the Heisman Trophy winner. So it's going to be either a Brandon Faxon who we signed last week, or like that's
Who?
going to be the matchup you guys are going to have to exploit out there. And same with like
Okay.
Henry Ruggs. I think he can get behind the secondary.
Oh, Rugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be. I think it's one of those things that I think both coaches are going to try and establish the run game. Hopefully, you guys haven't really ran the ball much this year, but
What? See, I'm just about to get into it because I'm about to answer the same exact question. I feel like this is going to be a back and forth game, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they are so predictable because we are dead last and running the ball, dead last. When you have Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Hurts, they're all like coming into the season. I predict us to lead the league and rushing because of those guys. We are last in the league because it comes down to coaching. Our coaching is a pass heavy type of coach, and sometimes that plays into y'all hands because if we don't run the ball, I mean, all the Raiders gotta do is what? Just drop back and play zone and not allow us to run not allow us to throw the ball at all.
well, and
And now we trap.
that's what we play. And I think one thing is you guys, you have a rookie. You have basically a rookie. I mean, he got some time last year, but you have a young quarterback that is having trouble throwing the ball,
Yeah.
and you keep putting him in 3rd and 12 situations. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, and so I mean, Miles Sanders. I looked it up before I got on here, and he had 6.2 yards to carry last week, and he
Yeah.
carried the ball 9 times. So
Yes.
the Raiders are 26th in rush defense. We're giving up like 4.9 on the ground. So I
Wow.
mean, that's the way the Eagles win this game is if they can run the ball. Like Denver was running fine on us, and they started putting the ball
Mhm.
in Teddy
And
Bridgewater's hands, and he was turning the ball over. So getting that Raiders defense right now, our defense tackles are banged up. We've pretty much gotten gashed all year on the ground. So it would be criminal for Sirianni not to run the ball.
Look, man, look, a criminal or not, we are 6 game into the season, and in my opinion, he is the worst coach that the Philadelphia Eagles had so far, by far. And I've been an Eagles fan for so long. I've never seen a coach that don't run the ball. He don't even try to run the ball. The RPOs is not designed run plays. I'm sorry. He keeps saying, "Hey, we do RPOs. It's up to the coach." It seemed like that he's passing the buck on to Jalen Hurts and hoping that we get off of him and go on to Jalen Hurts. No, you're the coach. RPOs are not designed run plays. Why not line up Miles Sanders? You've seen it. We see it. Everybody across the NFL is seeing it that the Philadelphia Eagles don't run the ball. Why can't the coaching staff see it? Like, why can't Nick Sirianni see it? I mean, look, he's been waiting all his life to call plays. And guess what? Whether we win or lose, he's going to go out with a bang. That's what I think. I think that he really wants to, say, hey, I did this. I did it my way. I'm passing this league. Hey, this is my offense. And forget everything else. So I think it's a bad recipe. It's a really, really bad recipe. And you even said our first 6 games was brutal, but we was in every one besides the Dallas Cowboys game. But we was in every game, the San Fran game. We literally, matter of fact, we lead the league in touchdowns taken away with 6 or 7 touchdowns, either pass interference or penalties or stupid little mistakes. So I don't know if it's the coach or the players that don't respect the coach or we're young. But I thought that we had the balance of young and old, I mean, like the right amount of vets and the right amount of youth. But it seems like that I was just straight up wrong so far. But look, so what's your ranking in passing? Because if y'all 26 in rushing defense, so what's your ranking in passing? Do you know?
Yeah, we're like around 14. I know going into last week it was like 14. And the Raiders have gotten like really good production out of Casey Hayward Jr., which is like semi surprising. Like the Chargers cut him and he's jumped right in and been the number 1 corner. But our second corner, Trayvon Mullen, is hurt. So last week they had our first round pick from the year before, Damon Arnett, he's also hurt, but I'm glad he's not playing. Hope he gets better. But they so they're basically on their third backup corner on the outside. So the pass defense is very, very suspect if you can, have a good game plan. And I think one mistake that the teams that have lost to us have done is they're just trying to go deep too often. And the Raiders defense right now is set up with Trayvon Moehrig in the back to not give up that deep ball. And I think those little 12 to 13 intermediate routes, I can't believe how many times the guys have been wide open in that 3-4 zone that Bradley runs. So that's the way to beat them. Whether is Dallas Gator going to play this week?
Yeah. Who? Dallas?
Yeah, he missed last week, right?
Well, yeah, because of COVID, but he's good now.
So he'll be there. He'll be playing Sunday.
Yeah.
See, I mean, that's going to be in my opinion, him and Noah Fant had 11 targets last week and 9 catches. That's probably the way to beat the pass defense. But our pass rush has just been phenomenal, and that's a surprise this year too. With Yannick and Max Crosby, the Raiders have the 5th amount of QB hits in football and the 7th amount of sacks. So that's something that helps that Jalen Hurts is mobile. But also, I've noticed when I've watched the Eagles games that when he gets a little pressure on him, he kind of makes bad decisions. So that's kind of that's going to be my key factor right there for the Raiders and the Eagles is both teams, because our offensive line has been pretty bad this year, and that was one thing that John Gruden got a lot of heat for, was he blew up the offensive line this year and went cheaper. And so I think whoever gets pressure on the quarterback is going to win. That's kind of my key to the game, either both ways, because who's going to make the most mistakes? Is it Derek Carr, Jalen Hurts? And it's going to come down to that. Can Jalen Hurts hold on to the football? I know he had 7 interceptions this year, 4.
No, I think he has about 3 interceptions. He had 2 in one game and then 1 on the other. So you got about 3 interceptions. But the thing is, like, I don't trust our head coach, the play calling. Even if he calls the right plays into Jalen Hurts, it's always a pass. It's always a pass. It's no run. So we're so predictable, which is a recipe to be beat every time, 9 times out of 10. So I mean, I don't know. So how do you like your offense and your defense to start? Like, I mean, would you wish your team would pass more, run more, or your defense would play a certain a scheme, or like how you are liking your offense and defense so far to start the season? Hey, he'll be back. But look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. The Philadelphia Eagles offense and defense, right? And just going off of the offense and defense for us, like, we need to run the ball. I know I say every week, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. But look, the Philadelphia Eagles cannot afford not to run the ball. With Jalen Hurts, first of all, I was at the game this past Thursday, and I promise you right now, there are at least 3 to 5 times where if he hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, if he just hand the ball off, Miles Sanders would have got at least 7, 8, 9, maybe a touchdown. Like, I promise you. So I think that Jalen Hurts is pressing so much that he feels like even if they tell me to hand the ball off, I'm just gonna keep it. This is his audition year. He's trying to prove himself. So, I mean, regardless of what we may think of Nick Sirianni play calling, but Jalen Hurts have to recognize you have to give up the ball. You can't do everything by yourself. You cannot do everything by yourself. So that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as the defensive side of the ball, look, I need them to, first of all, do not try to play Ruggs man up. Do not try to play Ruggs man up because we're going to get burnt. Because this dude is the fastest wide receiver besides Tyreek Hill. He's the fastest wide receiver in the league. All right. So he's catching bombs over bombs over bombs. So if anything, you need to play a DB underneath and a safety high. If anything, if you're gonna try to be bold, one side of the field, like, you definitely need to play a well balanced a defensive scheme against Ruggs. You cannot play a man up. You definitely need to put a DB underneath and a safety on top. Everybody else, I'm comfortable if the Philadelphia Eagles play man up, but Ruggs, you can't. Your thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles? So, what scheme do you think that the Philadelphia Eagles should play against the Raiders? You hear me? You can hear
Good
me?
now.
Yeah, you in and out, but you can hear me though. Let's see, Hargrave. Let me see. Hargrave is a beast. Facts. Hargrave is a beast. Ruggs is a problem. Who who will cover Ruggs? So who would you put on Ruggs? So we having some technical difficulties. All right. So look, I would put, oh man, yeah, I don't know who I would put on Ruggs, honestly, because the same thing we would try to do with Tyreek Hill. I would try to put Nelson on Ruggs and have Anthony Harris or McLeod over the top, just because that the Philadelphia Eagles, like, right now, are not really, like, we don't have anybody fast enough that could keep up with Ruggs. But we have to play smart. So I feel like a DB underneath, Nelson on Ruggs, and then have help over the top. You have to. Richard. Sirianni act like he's allergic to running plays. You know what? And Nick Sirianni is a wide receiver coach. He's a wide receiver coach. So all he believes in is getting to the wide receiver, throwing, passing, throwing, like that's all he believes in. He waited his whole life for this moment. His whole life, he waited for this moment to be the head coach and to call plays. He has not called plays in any level yet, but he chose to come to NFL to call plays in the NFL. How you choose to wait to the NFL to be calling plays, especially how you choose to come to the Philadelphia Eagles. Like we should not be running, like passing the ball as much. So it was going on. Hey, look.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can
My
hear
bad,
you
man. I
now.
don't know what happened.
Oh, you good, man. So who would you what defense would you have the Eagles play on Ruggs, and who would you put on Ruggs? Like someone fast, like Nelson, kind of, or someone like Slay, that's a little bit taller, a bigger corner, a little bit more physical, and just leave him alone on the island, or Nelson and give him help over the top.
Yeah. I think you definitely want to go with the more physical corner. That's kind of been the only knock on Ruggs so far in his career is when he has a physical guy on him. He just can't separate. But I think like the same with Devontae Smith and the same with Ruggs right now is like they're not getting the volume, to like 7-8 targets a game, but the one will kill you. So it's a tough one. Like you always have to consider that Ruggs is going to go over the top on you and catch a 50, 60-yard touchdown. He's had 3 so far this year that have 50 yards, and he wasn't particularly open on any of them. Like he had one against Pittsburgh. They had 2 guys back there. The safety just cut it short, and same with one last week. So I think with Ruggs, it's like you're going to give up 1, maybe 2 of those. But as far as like putting somebody physical like Slay on him, it might eliminate, like hopefully not giving up multiple deep shots in one game. That's kind of I think what's been the theme and the wins so far this year has been a couple deep shots that have changed the entire game. So
I would agree with you, but the Philadelphia Eagles do not play bump and run. Yes, there's one thing I'm noticing with the Philadelphia Eagles. They don't play bump and run. They play like 5-7 yards off. So if you're like Ruggs and you do a little head fake, the Philadelphia Eagles are gonna come running up. And next thing you know, he's flying by. So that's one thing that I wish that Jonathan Gannon played was more man instead of the 5-7 yards cushion, because a fast wide receiver will play you all day. And we saw it with Tom Brady. Antonio Brown was getting played about 5 to 10 yards off, that Tom Brady was just picking them apart, especially if we play zone. A good quarterback like Carr, I consider him a good quarterback, not an elite quarterback, but he's good enough right now, especially with John Gruden gone. I really feel like that the weight is off of him, that he's going to play a lot looser. So I feel like, hey, with the little, Chuck plays the Dick and Dongs, which will bring up Philly, and then next thing you know, Ruggs is running for an 80-yard touchdown. I got Ruggs on my fantasy team, by the way. And last week, of course, I saw it. I'm like, whoa, how he give me 10? Yeah, of course, he caught a 46-yard bomb and a touchdown. So I know what he's capable of. So that's what I'm saying. He reminds me of Tyreek Hill. So we definitely need to play a lot more. But would you put a Derek Carr on Patrick Mahomes level? Because I feel like that's what beat the Philadelphia Eagles was Patrick Mahomes, because he was so like calculated before we even came that he was eating up the zone alive. We could not stop him. We did not punt at all that game. No team punted. So
yeah, I mean, but you're not getting like a Patrick Mahomes level quarterback in Derek Carr, and you're not getting a Tom Brady level quarterback. But what you're getting is a veteran that doesn't make too many crazy mistakes. I think like one thing is Darren Waller has been pretty quiet the last 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh man, yeah.
And your guys' linebacker core, from what I've read, is kind of banged up / maybe underperforming.
Well, our
And so it's like,
linebacker
who's
core
going to
to
cover him?
me, well, the thing is, we do not use linebacker to cover tight ends. So this is the
Gotcha.
tight ends that we faced so far. We faced Kyle Pitts, Kittles, Kelsey, Jarwin, and Jarwin. We faced, well, Gronk was in there, but we faced OJ Howard. He got a touchdown. But none of those tight ends went off. Even Kelsey or Kittles, the best two tight ends none of them went over 50 yards because we
Gotcha.
use a slot corner on the tight end to shadow the tight end. And then, of course, we play zones, so we got help over the top. But what killed us is the running game at that point. So if
Right. So
y'all
maybe
running,
because of that, Josh Jacobs will have a better game.
yeah, yeah, like absolutely. Josh Jacob might have a great game. If you are a fantasy player, you might want to start Josh Jacob against the Philadelphia Eagles. But as far as Waller, yeah, no Titans this year has really went over 50, 60 yards at all. And we faced some top, not the number one, number two tight end, in my opinion, and they didn't even go over 50 yards. So we play a defense bend don't break defense. We'll let you march on the field, but what can you do once you get inside the red zone? And that's where teams struggle against the Philadelphia Eagles. So, but
And that's a good combo for you because the Raiders' red zone offense has been bad for 2 years. So
yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna see because I feel like that this game right here, it could either kick off the Philadelphia Eagles season on a winning streak because like our first six game was the hardest game. I had us going 3-3 the first six, but we went 2-4. But we could have went either 4-2 or 3-3. But now the next, the next 11 are some winnable games because the talent is not as the Tampa Bay, the Kansas City, the Dallas Cowboys, but there are very good teams. But we still got the Jets in there, the Giants in there twice, the Washington football team, the Detroit Lions. So if we could go to Las Vegas and beat the Raiders, that is a morale booster that could shoot the Philadelphia Eagles into some winning streak. Maybe a 4 or 5 game winning streak. Who knows? And for y'all, if y'all beat the Philadelphia Eagles, that's back-to-back game without John Gruden. How you feel that your team will be feeling like if y'all beat us?
yeah, I mean, I thought Week 3 against the Chargers was like obviously at the time was the biggest game of the year. But now, obviously, when you're 4-2 and you have a chance to go 5-2, bye week next week, and then we come out of the bye week and face the Giants. So this is a really, really important game for the Raiders as far as what is this season? Is this season a throwaway season and you're going to hire a GM and a coach next year? Or are you going to keep Mike Mayock, keep the coaching staff intact, keep Derek Carr, and make a playoff run? So this week is greatly important for the Raiders, and it's what's going to happen for the rest of this season and in the off season might be determined by this week, because if you go 5-2 and you go to the bye, you get healthy, you got the Giants coming out of it. We still have a matchup with Washington as well. There's still some winnable games on the schedule. Indianapolis is winnable. So we have a lot of chances there to make an impact, and hopefully, I think it's going to be a good football game. I know a lot of Raider fans think it's going to be a blowout. We don't blow people out. Last week was an anomaly. Like, that's the first game I can remember in 3 years where I wasn't like taking Tylenol in the fourth quarter, and so it doesn't happen very often. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Raiders are like -3 right now, -3.5. And
wow,
it's pretty close.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be a field goal one way or the other. One thing is the Raiders have played very well on special teams this year so far. And I know, I'm one of those people that thinks special teams can really change a game.
Yeah.
So I feel like the field position battle. We're 4-0 when we win the field position battle, and the way I judge that is what's the average start of the drives. So that's going to be a key there. And I think the Eagles, like you said, the run game for them. If they can establish a little bit of a run game, I'm nervous about Jalen Hurts on the ground, like his ability to run. The Raiders struggle with scrambling quarterbacks. Like Brissett's not that much of a scrambling quarterback, and he diced us up on the ground. Lamar Jackson, they actually held in check a little bit. However, he was able to beat us through the air because they were so focused on him running.
Yeah.
So I feel like something similar for the Eagles. Like, they're going to be so focused on stopping Hurts. If he can make one or two big throws and, like, get Devontae Smith over the top, or, I mean, I still like Jalen Reagor, but I know fans have their own opinion on him. But he's like, those guys scare me. You have a fast team, and the Raiders, they don't handle speed very well. So you have, I think last time I looked, you had like 4 receivers that ran better than a 4.4. So there's going to be somebody open for Hurts, and he's just got to make those throws. And it goes that way with Derek Carr too. Is like, can that pocket hold up it with Cox and Hargrave coming at him? Like that, can it hold up long enough in the interior? Because our interior offensive line is the worst in football, and that's not even an exaggeration.
So I'm about to ask you this: your biggest concern facing the Eagles on Sunday, it seems like that the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line versus your offensive line is like your biggest concern. No,
specifically the interior. I know Derek Barnett. I can't remember what side he comes off of. I can't remember if he gets
the left side.
Yeah, so he's going to be coming after on Colton Miller. Who's opposite of him?
It should be freaking
whoever it is, though. That's going to be the key right there, because
Sweat.
Yeah, so Sweat's going to go after Brandon Parker, who is a backup tackle at best, and so the Raiders really like that offensive line. Our center is the worst in football. Our right tackle that we switched to right guard out of Alabama, Leatherwood, is still learning the position. And our left guard is a backup too. So you have like that interior line there with pretty much 2 all-pro caliber players there in Hargrave and Cox. That could make for a really long day for Derek Carr and a really long day for Josh Jacobs. So I think that's the key on offense. And then on defense for the Raiders, it's just not allowing Devontae Smith to get over the top. Like, and same with Reagor and those guys.
Watkins. He's our big threat, a wide receiver, actually.
I do like him. He's
So
I mean, you have 3 guys that can beat you deep, and that's the thing is the Raiders have limited that this year for the most part. But there was a couple last week they got beat, but the guy, what's the quarterback? Bridgewater overthrew him by 10 yards. So there was 2 plays where Tim Patrick would have scored if there was a good throw. So. The opportunities are there against the Raiders defense, and it's a defense that was last in the league last year, and now they're like 16th, 17th overall, and so there's still chances to beat them there. They're not always going to be in the right spot. They're still young. We have guys up top like Jonathan Abrams having a better year, but he still just goes for the big hit. So there's chances to get burnt there, and I think the Eagles have enough playmakers to burn them. And I would like it not to happen, but we're both hoping for different things here. But I think that you have a situation where it's whatever team can probably make the bigger plays as far as 40 yards plus is going to win. And so I think the Raiders, they're susceptible there if you have a chance. And Nate Hobbs has been pretty good. That's another guy on the Raiders.
Who's Nate Hobbs, though? I mean, who's Nate Hobbs?
Yeah, he's our rookie slot corner. Came into camp and had a good camp. He was under Lovie Smith, at Syracuse, I think. Not Syracuse, Illinois. Yeah, Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah, and he's a really good tackler. Like, so he came out, he had like the tape was kind of bad, but his like intangibles were there, and he took the position into camp, and he's like the highest rated rookie corner right now. So they have 2 good corners, but you guys are going to have to attack the second corner. Whoever's covering opposite of Hayward is going to be where you guys are going to want to go, and I bet early on, if Sirianni is smart, that's where he's going to go with the plays. But
all right, see, look. And the same concern you have with our wide receivers getting behind your guys, I have a concern about that question right there. Hurts might overthrow and underthrow guys too, because that's the story of the season. If guys are wide open, he underthrow them. If they're not open, like he overthrow them. So if I were you, I would not be so scared about Jalen Hurts connecting that deep because I mean he did it like twice already, and we're in 6 games. So I mean, if the plays are there, if he could stay in the pocket, the thing is with Jalen Hurts, he have a lot on his plate because this literally gonna be his 10th game from last year to this year, his 10th game in the league, and he has a coach that don't run the ball at all. Like I never seen it before, so it's so much pressure on him. And so I feel like that in the pocket, he's so quick to run out because he is not like he's still learning how to be a quarterback, a pocket passer. So the same concerns you have with our guys getting behind you is the same concern I have with Jalen Hurts making those throws. He needs to make those. If he can make those throws, then I'd be like, all right, whew, yes, thank God your secondary is bad. But we played the Dallas Cowboys, the 31st ranked secondary. We did not expose them. We played the Tampa Bay Bucks, the 31st secondary. We did not exploit them because our quarterback is so quick to run out the pocket. Even when guys are open, he's just like his clock is like 2-3 seconds. He's gone. So if only, and sometimes he has some clean pockets, but he's just so used to getting out so fast. So we might not even be able to take advantage. Even if Rager, if Watkins, if Smith passed y'all, we might just not even see it because he's still learning the game. So I like Jalen Hurts. I feel like he does have a future, but he needs the right coach to help him develop, and he does not have it this year. He
Yeah, I
does
think with
not have it
Hurts,
this year.
I was watching Josh Allen last night, and that's like your best case scenario for Jalen Hurts. I think is like obviously like maybe an MVP candidate. You know, it's hard to compare him, but the first year that Josh Allen started for the Buffalo Bills, they wanted him all the way out of town. Like he was awful. Same thing. He would just leave the pocket when it's clean, and
Yeah.
so I think like with Hurts, you know, it's that's why it's important. And I said early, like whoever gets the most pressure on the quarterback, that's such a blanket answer. Like that's like such a scapegoat answer. Who's going to win the football game? Oh, whoever gets the most turnovers and whoever gets the most pressure,
Yeah.
right? But you have a quarterback, Garrett Carr, who's played with a pretty bad offensive line. The 2 games we lost, they got pressured early, and he played horrible. The 4 games the Raiders won, they were able to protect him enough, and he was able to sit in the pocket and make deep throws. And same with Hurts. If like the Raiders get pressure on him early, you know, then those throws that maybe Devontae Smith is wide open, he might not make. So again, just going back, I think it's it's going to be come down to Max Crosby and Yannick and Fletcher Cox and Hargrave. Like those are going to be the keys to that game. And I think Hurts is you just got to be patient with quarterbacks, and I don't think enough quarterbacks get enough time.
Yeah,
And
that's fair. That's true.
sometimes they get more time and than they deserve, but most of the time it's they don't get enough time. And I don't think anybody expected Jalen Hurts. Any logical fan of football is thinking, Jalen Hurts is going to come in and be a top 5 quarterback this season. But what you want to see is like maybe going into week 10, and all of a sudden you're talking about, he's improved in here, he's improved here, and he's improved here. And that's what you want to see. You don't want to see that stagnant, like, okay, week 2, he made the same mistake he made in week 10. So
Yeah.
hopefully he starts to, play a little better. I have enough people in my life that are Eagles fans where I root for you guys, except for this weekend. So
Look, hey, I'm not gonna lie. I came in this season with high hopes only because we got catfish. We had a coach that says that we're gonna use our guys to their strength. If you know how to run the ball, we're gonna run you. If you know how to throw the ball, we're gonna put you in position to throw the ball. It's the total opposite. He's not running the ball at all. So the teams are figuring out, hey, the Philadelphia Eagles don't run the ball. They can, but they will not run the ball. So it's so predictable. And that's the reason why Jalen Hurts is struggling so much because it's easy if you want to mention. So just like Gustavo said, Hurts been underthrowing the ball a lot in ball placement. Yes, he do have some accuracy issues. Accuracy issues. Let me see here. Sure, he needs to step up and make those run decisions. He's the leader of the team. Our receiver cannot barely get open. Such a great wide receiver. I understand, but all that is what is the play calling. If I know that you only throws the ball, your receivers are not going to be open. I will have a guy underneath, a guy over top, like the linebackers will drop back. So it's not his fault. So I know you gotta get out of here. So I'm just gonna ask you a few more questions.
Yep.
All right. So let me see. We went over that. All right. So what is your X factor on offense and defense? So what guy that the Eagles need to focus on? One guy on offense or he will wreck the game, and one guy on defense, or he will wreck the game for us.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we talked enough about Henry Ruggs, so I'll just like that's not really an X factor at this point. I think people know like he can change the game. Before Gruden went out and gave Kenyon Drake, a pretty nice contract to be the backup running back, and before last week, the Raiders were giving him very little snaps. Like he was at like 9% of the snaps, and last week he bumped up to 21%, had 2 touchdowns. So I would say that that's going to be your X factor. If there was a guy who's going to change the game, he's got a little more burst than Jacobs. Like if the Raiders run a couple of plays to him, that he has an opportunity to break one. He broke, he caught a really nice pass last week, and the Raiders have targeted him 5 times a game, even though he hasn't played that much. So he's usually matched up on a linebacker. Not sure in your scheme if that's the case, but somebody's going to get matched up on a linebacker, and it's probably going to be Kenyon Drake. So, and then I'll add another one on offense is Hunter Renfrow. Like he just shows up 5-6 times a game.
He's been averaging double digits. Yeah.
So 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, Hunter Renfrow gets the catch, and that's gonna, from my perspective, when I'm watching Raider games, and I'm like, man, it's nice to know we're gonna get this first down, and then I can imagine it's probably frustrating for opposing teams. Like, damn it, another first down, So as far as like a couple big 3rd down plays, I think Renfrow, and then on defense, that's a tough one to always to choose an X factor in because you got your stars, you got your Max Crosbys, you got your Casey Haywards, but I think that considering that I think you guys will take a couple shots deep, I think Trayvon Moehrig can make a couple big plays and change the game, hopefully an interception or something. So those will be my choices there. So.
All right, so look, I'm going to give you offense, Miles Sanders. If only Nick Sirianni won the ball, I think that Miles Sanders could have a huge game, big game.
Yeah.
And then on defense, I feel like if those 2 guys in the middle, from the time the ball is snapped, 3 seconds with Hargrave and Cox, if they could rush through the middle, and now they both got to get a double team, and that's a recipe for the Barnett, Sweat, Milton Williams, or any of the edge rushers to get through. So I feel like that Hargrave, he was 3rd in the league in sack with 6.5 before last Thursday, which he got nothing. But he has been dominating. He would definitely be a go to the Pro Bowl. So I think Cox and Barnett in your interior, because that's your weakness. So I feel like those are your thing right here. So, all right. So before I let you go, what is your prediction on the game? Who's winning? And hey, what's the score?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, like I said, everybody thinks that like the Raiders are going to blow you out. I don't think so. I think it's 27-24 Raiders is my guess.
You know what? Hey, flip that for me. I really think that the Philadelphia Eagles are better tested. Like the first 6 games were the hardest game that they faced, and I feel like that the only game that just got out of hand was the Cowboys game. Even the Bucs game last week, we was down 28-7, and next thing you know, we was down 28-22. So we've been fighting. We fought the 49ers. The Kansas City Chiefs was back and forth until this late touchdown that that got called back. So I feel like it's going to be 27-24 Eagles.
I'm with you on the score. I think that's kind of where it's going to be, and I think like one big play, like from one of the X factors, will change it one way or the other. So I definitely don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think that the Raiders have enough talent. I think the Eagles, like I said, coming in is the schedule has been rough.
Yeah.
Run the ball, and
Run
see
the
if you can.
ball.
Yeah,
Run the ball. So, hey, real quick, hey, let everybody know, hey, where to find you at, man. And let the Raider Nation know. Hey, let the Raider Nation know, where to find you at and how confident you are in your team and what your final record is going to be this season. When all said and done, 17 game is over. What's your final record? And let them know where to
yeah,
find you at.
yeah. I think so. They're 4-2 right now. I think they finished 6-5, and it's 10-7.
Nice. So
And
is that good enough for a wild card or a division? Because Kansas City is in your division, Chargers is in your division, and the Broncos in your division. So where y'all at?
wild card for sure. I think that the Chargers end up winning 11 or 12 games, and I think the Chiefs win 10 or 11, and it's going to be maybe both wild cards come from the West.
Nice. All right.
Well, there's
Hey.
3 wild cards this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's only one team they gotta buy. So everybody else play wild card weekend. So if you're
Yep.
not the best team, hey, you playing a wild card weekend. And once again, your Twitter name is on the screen right there. Is what? Hey, how you pronounce your name?
Fattest Fallon. So my name's Matt Fallon, but yeah.
All right, man. Look, I appreciate you, hey, coming on, man, and give me some time. I know we went just a little bit over. Hey, as always, hey, this is your boy JC Eagle from JC from JC Eagles Talk, and go Birds. That's it. Let's get this win on Sunday.